You're stuck in the grind of a gray, fluorescent lit office, day after day, feeling that quiet tug that life is supposed to be something more. Then, one envelope changes everything. Inside is a letter from your grandfather, written years ago, offering you a chance to start over. A small plot of land, a cozy little farmhouse, a fresh beginning in a place called Stardew Valley. In this video, we're stepping into that moment of escape and possibility. We'll take a look at the humble beginnings of our new life as a farmer, meet the charming folks who call Pelican Town home, and explore how this peaceful valley slowly becomes a place of purpose, community, and adventure. Whether you're brand new to the game or a veteran player interested in watching a new playthrough, it's the perfect time to roll up your sleeves, plant your first seeds, and see where this journey leads. Let's head to the valley and begin our story. Hi friends, this is Keith at the Solo Gamers Club, and tonight we're going to learn to set up and play Stardew Valley, the board game, a cooperative game of farming and friendship. Stardew Valley is based on the highly successful computer game of the same name, and this game attempts to translate that title into board game format. In the game, we start in a dreary corporate job with the Joja Corporation, a massive retail and logistics company that has spread into small towns like Pelican Town. They run the JojaMart, a warehouse-style store that undercuts local businesses with low prices. Their philosophy is summed up with their slogan, "Join us, thrive." The job has left us burned out and unfulfilled, and we're seeking a change. Years earlier, our grandfather gave us a sealed letter, instructing us to open it when life became too overwhelming. Upon opening it, we discover he's left us the deed to his old farm in a quiet rural area far from the city called Stardew Valley. We arrive with basic tools and a few coins, greeted by the welcoming townsfolk. The farm is overgrown and neglected, but full of potential. The town itself is charming but struggling, especially the community center, which has fallen into disrepair due to Joja's, our former employer's, influence. The object of the game is to complete 4 of Grandpa's goals, which he has laid out in 4 letters to us, and to restore all 6 community center rooms before the season deck is exhausted. This represents 1 year in real time. We begin the setup by laying out the game board. The game board includes all of the locations in Stardew Valley, and these will include our farm, the mountains area, the forge, the beach, the town of Pelican, the forest, and finally the ranch. We place the Stardew dice, animal dice, and the spouse pawn near the board. The Stardew dice are used when exploring the mine and opening geodes. The animal dice are used when conducting the farm action. Next, we shuffle and place the following decks near the board: the Villager's deck, Items deck, Epic Items deck, Event deck, and the Mine Event deck. In addition, we shuffle and stack the Joja tiles near that area. The game comes with a tray and 2 draw bags. The tray houses all the animals, crops, and mineral tokens. The gray bag will hold our artifacts and mineral tokens, while the blue bag will hold all of the fish tokens. Next, we're going to plant our first crop, and we're going to place 1 parsnip, a spring crop, from the tile tray in the second field slot. So we'll take a parsnips token from the tray and we'll place that in our fields area. So we take the parsnips token and we take a look at it at the bottom left corner of the token. That tells us its watering level. And that tells us in what slot on the farm that we're going to place that. So it's going to begin in slot 2. Now, in addition to the tile tray, we also get this very, very handy storage tray. It allows us to keep all of our pawns, gold, hearts, our buildings, and our other cards, along with all of the forageable tiles separated by season. And that's our next step. We're going to take our spring forageable tiles, and those consist of 4 trees and 11 forageable tiles. We're going to place those on the board. So we place the spring trees in these tree stumps all the way around the board. Those are primarily in the forest area, as you would expect. Then the forageable areas go on the forageable symbols around the board. And we place those just randomly around until all of those are filled. We're able to forage when we move on the map. Next, we take our fish bag. It consists of all of the fish tokens in the game, and we're going to randomly lay out 5 fish tokens starting from right to left. Our next part of the setup is in the mines, and we begin with our level cards. And we're going to sort those, placing them face up from level 1 down to level 12 in order. Next, we're going to get out our maps deck, and we give those a shuffle, and we're going to draw the top card and place it in the maps area. Now we're going to build our season deck. So we get out our first season, which is spring. Each deck will have a last day of that season, the season cards. And for the first game, the rules recommend that we use these standard cards. Those are noted with the little Junimo symbol in the corner. The Junimo is a kind of mythical creature that will make an appearance in the game from various times. And they're kind of a benevolent creature that is kind of the keeper of Stardew Valley. These cards are going to drive most of the action in the game. We're going to draw one of these at the start of each turn. Now for this game, I'm going to just use all the cards that we have. There's technically 4 of those starting cards in each of the 4 decks. So a total of 16 of those with the little Junimo symbol. We're just going to shuffle these all together, and we're going to create our deck for spring. And how we create the deck is very simple. We're going to draw 4 cards from the deck, and we're going to place that on top of the last days, in this case of spring. And we're going to do that for each of the seasons. But for right now, these cards are going to be placed in our season card area on the calendar. Cards that we didn't use will go back to the box. So we've created each of the seasons, and we've stacked them one on top of the other. Starting with spring, we put those in our calendar area. So each season is going to consist of 4 cards, plus its end of season card. Now we turn to our community center. Community Center consists of a total of 6 locations: the crafts room, the pantry, the fish tank, the bulletin board, the vault, and the boiler room. We're going to take the corresponding decks for each of those rooms and shuffle them and place them in the appropriate spaces. These cards will be placed face down, and we don't know what these cards will be. We're going to have to spend hearts to reveal them. That's a very important concept in the game. Another important part of the game are Grandpa's goals. The game comes with 8 of these letters from Grandpa. We're going to shuffle these and we're going to lay 4 of them out face up. And we need to solve all 4 of these in order to win the game. In addition to solving the issues that we have with the community center, we also have to complete 4 of Grandpa's goals. So we will shuffle this and draw 4 cards. The 4 cards we did not use will go back to the game box. Now our starting goals consist of save enough gold, have 10 gold per player by the end of the game. We're going to be playing a solitaire game, so we'll need number of gold equal to 10 times the number of players. So we'll need 10 gold. Then we have expand the farm, own buildings equal to the number of players. So in this case, we have to build at least 1 building. Next, we have upgrade starting tools. Upgrade your starting tools a total of 2 times per player. So we'll need to get at least 2 upgrades to our starting tools. Finally, we have catch a legendary fish. Catch legendary fish equal to the number of players. We'll have to catch at least 1 legendary fish to complete that goal. Now we're going to set up our animal and building tiles. Animals come in 2 separate varieties. There's the coop animals and their barn animals. Those are further divided in the coop by chickens, ducks, and rabbits. In the barn we have cows, sheep, and goats. Each of those animals produces specific commodities. Chickens have eggs, goats produce goat milk, cows produce cow's milk, sheep produce wool, and rabbits produce rabbit's feet. So we set those tiles up, separating them by coop and barn animals. Then we place the coop building on top of the coop animals and the barn building on top of the barn animals. In addition, we're going to shuffle the remaining building tokens, and we're going to draw 2 of them that will be available during the game. In this case, we have a stable and a well. The other buildings will be put back into the box. They won't be needed. And finally, we're going to set up our player area. We have 4 different professions that we can select from. We have a mining profession, farming, fishing, and foraging. And each of those has a special starting tool that will be assigned to it. Now, we'd like to select these professions based upon the cards in Grandpa's letters, because we know that we're going to have to solve those, so we probably want to take a look at those again and select which profession would be the best suited in solving those letters from Grandpa. So we've got expand the farm, upgrade starting tools, catch legendary fish. Saving enough gold, well, there's probably none of those, maybe the mining possibly, but that one is pretty much, there's no specific profession that is going to directly relate to that, I don't think. So expanding the farm, upgrading starting tools, and catching legendary fish. So that would probably lead us to believe that maybe the farming or the fishing would be our best profession. Checking the descriptions on the professions, we find out that fishing this profession makes it easier to catch fish. Farming, this profession helps you improve your crops and animal products, as well as gain hearts. Foraging, This profession helps you get forageables and wood, as well as gold and hearts. So foraging might be good for having us obtain that save enough gold request from Grandpa. Finally, mining. The profession gives you advantages in the mine and helps you deal with monsters. So I guess it looks like probably one of these three would be our best. And I think I'll take the farming profession. The other three will go back into the box. And we're going to keep the farming profession. Then we take our pawn matching the color of the profession that we chose. In this case, farming is yellow, so we take the yellow pawn. And then we get our starting tool. And in this case, it is the watering can. Our tools are in order from 0, in this case, all the way up to 4. So we'll put those in order, and our starting tool is going to be the watering can. In addition, we take and shuffle our profession upgrades for farming, and we'll put those off to the side. And when we get a professional upgrade, we'll place them in the slots below, 1 and 2, and then we have 2 slots for items. The 6 that are listed on the card are reserved for resources, such as farm products, harvested crops, etc. And finally, we're going to take the first player token. As this is a solitaire game, we will always be the first player. And we have to decide if we want to have the cat side or the dog side. And that can come into play with certain events. It depends on what we have face up for our first player token. But we'll start with the cat, and we also start with 3 coins. Now, I think the designers of this game have done some really nice things, and I'd like to point those out before we get started on the playthrough. First one is they offer a sheet called Strategies and Tips. It also has the organization of how to organize the new trade that they've included in this second edition. I'll bring that up on the screen. You can take a look at that. I'm not going to go through the strategies and tips, but you can read that for yourself. In addition, in the rule book, they also offer a quick rules reference on page 23, and that's pretty nice, and it consolidates all of the summary of actions, the phases of a round, the quick setup checklist, and answers to common questions. And they also deal with a special condition in the game where you can get married. And finally, on the back of the rule book, they have included a symbol reference sheet, and this is extremely handy. It tells you all of the resource types, other tile icons, location actions, season card symbols, end of turn effects, and mine symbols. So this game is very well documented, and the designers of this put a great deal of effort into organizing this into a very rewarding board game. All right, I was going to give a primer on this for all of the different actions and phases of the round, but I think in the case of this game, I think we're best off to learn as we play. This will be my first playthrough of the game, and we'll see how we do. The first step is the seasons phase. We're the starting player, and we're going to turn over our first season card, and then we will follow the instructions accordingly. All right, our first card. Okay, what we do is we follow the symbols from top to bottom, and we resolve those step by step. All of the symbols are listed on the symbols reference sheet on the back of the rule book. So we start out with the first symbol we have is the cat symbol, and that says pass the pet token to the left. Well, in this case, we are the first player for the whole game since we're playing a solitaire game. So we just keep our first player marker, and we pass, go on to the next. The next is to move the fish track 2 spaces. All right. So 2 of the fish are going to drop off the display. The other ones are going to slide, and then we're going to refresh out of the fish bag the other 2 openings. So we've lost an oyster and a red mullet. Both of those were ocean fish. All right. So now we will refresh the display using the fish bag. First one is a mussel. Next is a treasure chest. Okay. Now how that works is you'll see an arrow there. Once this moves up, it'll be referring to the fish to the left of that treasure chest. If we capture the fish, we get the treasure chest with it, and the treasure chest will give us an item. So we'll be drawing a card from the items deck. Now you'll notice that one of these fish, this glacier fish, that is a legendary fish. You see the crown symbol there. One of our missions is to catch a legendary fish. Now, most often when the fish drop off the display, they're just out of play, but not with the legendary fish. Those will be put back into the draw bag. Now, this legendary fish has a blue triangle, and that means that we can catch that at the river fishing area. So that might be something we might want to consider trying to do. The final action on the card is to sell or trade items and resources. Well, we really don't have any, so we will pass on that. Now we can go on to the next step in the sequence of play. The next step is the planning phase. Players will discuss what they'd like to do, and then each places their pawn on any location. They may freely trade resources and items during this phase. Well, once again, we're playing a solitaire game, so we're going to examine the map and see where we want to place our player pawn to begin the first turn. Well, the only information we have about what we need to accomplish to win the game are the letters from Grandpa. We know that we're going to have to complete those. The area in the community center, those are upside down now. We don't know what we're going to need to complete those tasks. And we're going to need to spend heart tokens to reveal the card. So we're going to need to get some heart tokens to be able to do that, there's no doubt. Catching of a legendary fish, that's something we can do right now. We could go fishing, it's possible. We don't need any special equipment for that. The starting upgrade tools, to upgrade starting tools, we need ore. And in our case, it's going to be copper. So we don't have the ability to do that yet. Expand the farm, we have to do a build. In order to build, we're going to need gold and wood or stone. And then the last one is to save enough gold. Well, there's not much we can do about that other than trying to accumulate that through the game. So it looks like the only real one that we could target would be the catch legendary fish. So examining the board on the fish track, we find out there is one legendary fish. That's the glacier fish that we talked about. And looking at the symbol, it's a triangle, and that matches up with river fishing. So we could start by placing our pawn on river fishing. And that would allow us to do some fishing and maybe obtain a fish. We can use that for other purposes other than just the legendary fish. They can be used as gifts for making friends, or we can sell them for the gold amount listed. So now we're going to move to our action phase. And in our action phase, we have two choices. We can take an action and another action in the same space, or we can take an action, move, and take an action. So I think what we'll probably do, we'll begin with doing some river fishing, and then we'll probably move, and that would allow us to get a consumable. That's actually called a forageable or wood. It's forageable are the mushrooms, and the wood is obviously the trees. So we're going to try some river fishing. All right, the first step in fishing is we have to determine which fish are available in the location that we're at. We're in the river fishing area. It's in the forest. So we can only target fish that have that blue triangle. There's two of them. We've got the glacier fish, that is the legendary fish that we're trying to get, or this snail. Now the snail has the crab pot symbol. It's a kind of a special type of fishing. If you have a bug meat, you can spend a bug meat to take that tile automatically without having to roll the dice. What we're going to do in fishing is we're going to roll 3 of these Stardew dice. The dice breakdown are there's 3 hearts, 2 Junimo, and only 1 of the star drops. And that's what we need to catch this glacier fish. We need to get at least 1 star drop symbol. So we only have a 1 in 6 chance on each of those dice. We'll give it a try. We don't have any bug meat, so we can't take the snail. Okay, here's our roll for fishing. And we don't have it. We've got 2 hearts and a Junimo. So our choices now are to stay and continue fishing, or we can travel to one of the adjacent locations, and then we'd be able to gain a forageable as we move. And I think we'll probably do that. So I'm going to move from the forest area, and we'll take this path back to our farmhouse. And that allows us to do 2 actions there, either collect from animals or water the crops. But as we're traveling by, we can pick up a forageable token or a wood that is adjacent on either side of the road. And I think I'm going to end up taking this forageable. We'll see what that is. Okay, we've got a horseradish. All right, we're going to put that on our display. So we'll place that forageable on our display. It has a value of 2, and it is a spring crop, spring forageable. And now we're at our farmhouse. We have the 2 options that I discussed earlier. We're going to use the water the crops option. When we do that, it allows us to move the crops, all the crops that we have in our fields, down 1 towards the end of the track. And once it falls off the track, we've harvested that crop. So the parsnips will be moved down to location 1. That is the end of our actions. We return our pawn back to our farmhouse. So we're back at our farmhouse, and we can conduct one of these end of turn effects if we choose. We could spend a stone to build stairs, moving us down a level in the mine. We could pet animals. If we had animals, we'd pet them and they become happy. We can turn them to their happy side and they're worth more. Another one we could do is to remove a Joja token. If there was a Joja token on the board, we could spend either happiness or money to get rid of that token. And then those tokens usually have some negative effect to us in the game in that location. Finally, we could upgrade a starting tool. In our case, if we had copper ore, we would be able to upgrade our watering can to a copper watering can. And that says when you water crops, move them all 2 spaces. So that would be valuable for us, but unfortunately we don't have any copper ore at this time. So that is going to bring our turn to a close. So now we continue on with our next card from spring, and we'll see what happens with this card. All right. We'll begin by resolving those icons as we go. The first one is a quality symbol. That's going to allow us to flip a planted crop to quality. So let's do that. So we're going to flip this parsnip to quality. Right now it's worth 2, but when we flip it, the value goes up to 3, and then it is denoted as a quality crop with that star there. The next action is to pass that pet token. Well, we don't resolve that in a solo game, so we'll forget about that. But the next one is move the fish track 2 spaces, and that's not what we wanted to happen. So the 2 tokens are going to drop off of the fish display, and one of them was our precious legendary fish. Now normally when fish drop off the display, they are just discarded from the game, but not for the legendary fish. This is going to be placed back into the bag, and we can draw that at a future time. The snails, those are gone, so we'll just simply place those in a pile of used fish, and then we'll slide all the other ones down, and then we're going to refresh that display with 2 new draws. Okay. And this time we've got a bream, which is a river fish, and a bullhead, which is a lake fish. Okay. Now this treasure token If we can catch the bream, we're going to gain the treasure chest, and that will allow us an item draw that could be quite valuable. Now the next symbol is not good for us. We have to draw and place a Joja tile on the board. Those are never very good for us, so we'll draw the top Joja tile and see what it says. In this case, it says, cluttered display cases. Visiting the museum to donate now requires 2 actions. Okay, well, we're going to place this on the museum so we have that as a reminder. We can get rid of this during our end turn of effects by either paying 5 gold or 1 heart. This is our museum display. It's the official museum of Pelican Town. What will happen is we're going to get certain artifacts and minerals that we would be able to place on the display. They're listed from A through H. Those are the slots. If we're able to fill up an entire column, we have a reward. If we fill up slots A, B, C, and D, we can gain an epic item. And if we fill up slots E, F, G, and H, we also would gain an epic item. So we're going to place this cluttered display cases on there as a reminder to us that we're going to have to take 2 actions now in order to donate to the museum. And the final action on the card is to trade or sell resources. And at this point, we do have a horseradish. We could sell that for 2 gold, but I think we're going to keep that for right now. So we'll go on to our planning step. And I think what I'll do for today's action is we're going to start at the farm. And we're going to water our crops. It'll allow us to take the parsnip. We'll harvest that, put that on our display, and then we're going to walk to the town, Pelican Town. We're going to visit Pierre, and we're going to buy some seeds. I think that would make sense. So we'll start out with watering the crops, and we're going to gain this parsnip, and that is a quality product. We're going to add that to our display. For our second action, we're going to walk to Pelican Town. It allows us to gain any tokens that are adjacent to that roadway. And we have the choice of either wood, which we would need eventually to expand the farm, or one of these forageables. And I think we'll take the forageable, and I will probably take this one. Let's see what we got. This time we've got fiber. Well, it's pretty much useless. There are some uses for it. It is a building product. And we can't trade it to anyone. So we'll just put that on our display for the time being. We can always get rid of it if we don't want it. So now we have entered Pelican Town, and I'm going to visit Pierre, and we're going to buy seeds. Seeds, no matter which kind they are, cost 1 gold. So we're able to buy, in this case, up to 3 seeds because we have 3 gold. And let's see what kind of seeds we want to buy. And I think we're going to purchase some blueberry seeds. So we'll get some of those. I'll purchase some strawberries and maybe some hot peppers. We'll do that. And we're able to plant those immediately, and that's where we're going to be using the watering symbols that tells us what location in our planting area that they go. At this point, we can't stack items. Only 1 seedling can be placed in each of the fields, but there are abilities that we can get. It will allow us to plant more than 1 in a particular field. So we're going to pay the 3 gold. That will go back to the supply, and then we're going to plant these seeds right away. So we've got strawberries, blueberries, and hot peppers. We place them on the display matching the watering symbol. So the strawberries will go in 4, blueberries in 3, and hot peppers in 2. So that's going to complete our actions. Our pawn will return to the farm, and then we can take an end of turn effect if we are able to. The only one we really could take would be to remove the Joja token from the museum. And I think at this time, well, we really can't. I don't have any money to pay for it, so we can't do that. So that will be the end of our turn. So it's time now to draw another card. This one, we've got crows. That's not good. And looking at the background of the crow, it's green, so that means we have to lose a crop in the green area of our farms, losing them to the crows. You'll notice above our fields display, we've got these red and green sections on a track. So it says we have to lose a green crop. So that means that the blueberries are both red and green, or the hot pepper. Those would be the choices. So we'll lose the hot pepper that has less value, and that'll be returned to the supply. Darn crows got it. Okay, the next action is the pass the token. Pass our first player token. So we won't be doing that. The last one is trade and sell resources. So these are the resources that we have currently. We've got horseradish, quality parsnip, and some fiber. Well, fiber doesn't have any value, so we could sell possibly the parsnips. That would get us 3 gold, and I think we'll do that. So we're going to sell the parsnips, and that'll get us 3 gold. We need some. So the parsnips are returned to the tray, and we've got 3 gold now. And I think we're going to stay on the farm. So I'm going to move our pawn to there. We're probably going to end up watering our crops. I think that will be the action we're going to take. Then I'm going to travel, I think, to the mine, to the mountains area, and we're going to explore the mine. So we'll begin by watering our crops, and we'll move both of those down 1 slot, getting closer to harvest. Then we're going to travel to the mine, and that allows us to pick up either of these 2 tokens. And I think we will take this token here. This time we've got stone. Okay, that's great. We can use that. We need that for building supplies. So we'll add that to our display. And then we arrive at the mountains area, and we're going to be exploring the mine. Okay, we're going to be undertaking the mining event, and we're going to explore the mine. First thing we do is we examine our level card. That's going to tell us what level we're on and what items, or I should say ore in this case, or geodes, would be available if we're successful in exploring the mine. We're going to roll 2 Stardew dice, and then we're going to apply them to the columns and rows, and then that intersection of those will tell us what we get. So let's give it a shot. In this case, we're in pretty good luck because the ore that is available is copper ore, and we need copper ore in order to upgrade our watering can. So if we can get ore, that would be quite good for us. Okay, here is the roll. Okay, we've rolled 2 hearts. So we can apply these, heart and a heart. That's how we do it. We can interchange those. If, say, these were different, say they were the juniper, we could place it there, and the other heart we would place here, and then that would intersect with the stone. Or you could reverse it. In that case, it would be an ore, but we have 2 hearts. So all we can take is a bug meat, which is somewhat useful in fishing. We can get those crab pot fish. So we'll take this and add it to our display. And that will bring our turn to an end. So we're going to move back now to the farm. So we could undertake some of our end of turn effects if we chose. I really don't have anything other than we could build a staircase by using the stone that would allow us to drop down a level in the mine. But I'm going to keep that stone because we need to keep that to expand our farm. So that'll be the end of the turn, and we'll go to another card draw. And our next card draw, we're getting close to the end of spring. Oh boy, the crows are at it again. Okay, so the crow is going to attack a green crop. So let's take care of that. So the pesky crows once again have attacked our crops. We'll have to lose either the strawberry or the blueberry. So the choice is the value we would look at. I guess we'll take the blueberry as the casualty, and then we'll go back to the supply. The next symbol there is trigger gifts. If we had friends, we could trigger one of their gift abilities. Well, we don't have any yet. Next is draw an event. So we have to draw an event card. And we draw the event. Question mark. Gain 1 random artifact. Okay, that's great. So this card is discarded, and we will gain an artifact. So we get out our gray bag, and that has all of the artifacts and minerals that we're able to acquire. We're going to reach in and draw one, and then we're going to flip it to the artifact side. And this time we've got a rusty spur. Now you'll notice that that has a letter on it. We can donate that to the museum, and that would be placed in slot A, or it has a value of 1. So we'll keep it for the time being. Incidentally, if we were supposed to draw a mineral, we would have flipped it to the opposite side and we would have gotten a sandstone. But in this case, we were instructed to take an artifact. So we're going to place that on our board. We've used up 5 of our 6 slots right now. And finally, we can trade and sell resources. And I'm kind of reluctant to do that because we don't know what is going to be needed at the community center. Some of the things that we have on our display might be required to complete those rooms in the community center. So we'll hang on to what we have and we'll go to the planning stage. So we're still thinking about the wishes of Grandpa, and we're trying to complete those if we can. And we need to get some hearts to be able to reveal what is required at the community center. So I need to try to get some hearts. And I think in this turn, we're going to start at our farm and we're going to water the crops. So we'll move our strawberries down to 2. And then I'm going to travel to Pelican Town. And as we're traveling, we're going to pick up, well, we're going to need some wood eventually to do the building projects. But I think we'll take the token here, and we found stone, so that's good. We'll add the stone to our display. We've got 2 stone now. We've traveled to Pelican Town, and I'm going to visit Gus, and we're going to make a friend. So what we're going to do is draw the top villager's card, and we're going to interact with that villager. And in this case, I have met Caroline. Let's take a closer look at her. So examining Caroline's cards, we have 2 columns here. One are the gifts that she likes. The other one are the gifts that she hates. She has a winter birthday, so if we make her a friend and we happen to be in the winter season, we would gain an extra heart from that. Her gifting ability is plant any one crop from any season. The flavor text says, "My husband runs the general store here." All right, so what we're trying to do is we want to gift Caroline something that is not either a forageable or a fish. If we give her anything, she will become our friend, and we can take that card and put it near our display. So I think I will give her, we'll give her the rusty spur. It has a 1 value, and we'll give that to her, and that will allow us to take Caroline as a friend. And then we're going to gain 1 heart. So we'll gain a heart for that, which we can use eventually to flip over one of those cards that are in the community rooms at the top of the board. So we're going to take Caroline. It's our first friend. The rusty spur is removed, and we gain a heart. So at the end of the day, we return to our farmhouse, and then we have our options of end turn effects. And so far, we're not doing very well in completing any of the tasks that we need to complete. Let's take a look at our player board. Well, so far we've managed to acquire a heart, 3 coins. We've got our starting watering can, which I'm looking to upgrade, and I think I'll try something in the next turn to see if we can get some copper. We've also got some horseradish, 2 stone that we can use to build and expand our farm, some bug meat which could come in handy for fishing, and then some fiber. So that's what we have. We also have Caroline as our first friend, and if that gift ability can be activated, it says plant any 1 crop from any season. And I have to point this out. When I planted those crops, I was only limited to planting crops for that season, which is spring. When we planted the blueberries and the hot peppers, those are summer items. I should not have been able to do that. It won't affect the game because crows ate those, but we have to limit our building or our planting to the season we're in. The exception is, in this case, Caroline. Plant any one crop from any season. That's what drew me to that. You'll notice in our item tray, we've got these organized by season for all the crops. We've got spring, summer, and fall. You'll note that there is no winter seeds. So no planting in winter. And then we've got our farm commodities, milk, ducks, feathers, etc. And then some of our ore that we have that we could possibly gain maybe at the mine. But just so you know, we would have been limited when we picked those seeds up by Pierre. We would have had to have selected a crop that was a spring crop, and we didn't do that. So we're ready to start a new turn, and this is going to be the last day of spring. So we flip this over, and there's going to be some special conditions there. It says spring is ended. Place new trees and forageable tiles, and then draw 2 profession upgrades and keep 1. And then we're going to draw the next season card. Now in the solitaire game, we're able to draw 3 profession cards and keep 1. And I'll show you what that looks like. But first we have to replace all of the trees and forageable tiles for the summer season. So now our trees are in summer season. You'll see the new graphics on those, and we have our new forageable tiles on the board. Our next step now is to draw, in our case, 3 profession upgrades and keep 1. Now I've placed our profession upgrades and other cards on these card stands, and we're able to pick up to 3. We can take 3 in one profession, we could take 2 in one, 1 in another, or 3 separate ones. So we have to decide on what profession upgrades would be helpful to us considering the current board situation. And I think we're going to take a farming, a mining, and a foraging upgrade. So we'll take a look at these and see which one of those 3 we're going to keep. The other ones will go to the discard. So the cards include a loom, double the gold received when you sell wool. Well, that won't be too useful for us right now. The aquamarine ring. When you gain a geode while mining, you may choose to gain any type. Okay, and then we have an axe. When you move, you may take 1 wood as well as a forageable adjacent to the path, and we're going to take the axe. I think that's what we'll do. These 2 will be discarded, and we'll add the axe to our player display. That's a good item. So we've got 2 slots for profession upgrades, and we'll place that axe in upgrade 1. That will be quite useful for us. So now we're going to be starting summer, and we'll resolve our first summer card. This one has, the crows again. Well, fortunately, the crows, these are red crows, and we have no crops in the red area, so we won't have to worry about that. Next is to sell items. And I don't think I want to sell anything at this point, so we're going to do our planning stage now. And I think what we're going to do is we're going to start in the Pelican Town, and we're going to visit the community center. And that will allow us to use one of our hearts to reveal the first item that we'll need, the bundles that we'll need in the community center. And we reveal those from left to right. So we'll start with the crafts room. So we're going to spend a heart, and that will allow us to reveal the top card from the crafts room. In this case, we need to have fall foraging. Any fall forageable would allow us to complete that crafts room. So that's good. We haven't entered fall yet. So we can't enter any items onto that card to complete it because we don't have any fall forageables yet. So at least we know what we're up against now for the crafts room. That heart will go to the display, or back to the supply. I think for our next action, we're going to travel from the community center to the mine. I'm hoping to get that copper ore. And that will allow us to take a forageable, and I think we will take this one. And we found fiddlehead fern. Okay, that's a summer forageable. It's worth 3, so we're going to add that to our display. Now, unfortunately, we couldn't use our axe because there were no trees, no wood in the adjacent paths, but it would have been nice to be able to use that. So we're going to travel to the mountains, and I'm going to explore the mine again, hoping to get some copper. So we're going to roll 2 Stardew dice and use this matrix to find out what we can find there. So here's our exploration of the mine. Okay, we've got a Stardew symbol and a heart, so we can match these up in any combination that we want. One combination would be that, and that's going to get us an ore. I'm sorry, I meant a geode. That's one option. The other method would be to use it in this capacity, and that would allow us to get 2 ore. And in this case, the ore that is available is copper. So I think we're going to go with that solution. And that is going to give us 2 copper ore, which is outstanding. So that was the best thing that has happened to us so far. We'll add those to our display. Now, as you can see, our resources are full, so we're going to have to get rid of something if we want to keep that copper ore. And I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to get rid of the fiber that probably won't be too useful for us, and the bug meat. We'll get rid of those, and we'll put the copper ore into our resources area. So we're going to return to our farm at the end of the day, and we'll see if we can do any of our end of turn effects, and we can. The option that we're going to choose, we can choose one of these, is to upgrade our starting tool. So let's take a look at that. Right now our starting tool is the watering can. Every crop needs water to grow, but we can upgrade it for 1 copper ore, and that's what we're going to do. So we're going to spend the copper ore, and we will be able to reveal the upgraded watering can. In this case, it is a copper watering can. When you water crops, move all of them 2 spaces, so that's very valuable. That is great. And incidentally, that is also one of Grandpa's wishes, is that we upgrade starting tools. Now we need to do that twice, but at least we've done part of it, and that's a good thing. So we're ready for our next summer turn, and we'll see what summer has for us in store. All right, we're going to begin by being able to upgrade one of our crops to good quality crop. Let's do that. So we're going to upgrade our strawberries to quality strawberries. Those have a value of 5 right now. Next would be to pass the first player token. We'll forget that, but now we have to move the fish track. So 2 of the fish are going to drop off the board, the puffer fish and the mussel. These things are going to slide down, and then we're going to draw 2 new fish tokens. And we're hoping to see a legendary fish out here, because that's one of our things we need to accomplish. First one is a shad. That's a river fish. Next one is another treasure chest. Okay. And next we have to reveal a Joja token, and we will see what they're going to do to us this time. And this one is revealed to be JojaMart Warehouse Planning. Bundles require 1 additional donation to complete. Oh boy, that is not good. And that is going to affect the community center when we attempt to complete those bundles. We'll place it there. So we'll place this Joja token near the community center, and now we're going to have 1 additional donation to complete it. So we've got to try to get rid of that by either spending a heart or 5 gold. Now it's our planning step, and I think we're going to start at the farm, and we're going to water some crops. Now since we've got our new copper watering can, we can move them all 2 spaces, so that's great. And we will move the strawberries 2 spaces, and we'll add that to our inventory. Those are worth 5. Next, I think we're going to travel, and we're going to go to the forest and do some river fishing. Now I really don't want to necessarily do river fishing, but I'd like to take advantage of our axe, which is going to give us 1 wood as well as a forageable adjacent to the path. So let's do that, and I think we're going to gain this wood and this forageable. Let's see what we've got now. So we have a wood, and we have another fiddlehead fern. All right, well, we'll try to add those to our, that's a quality one at least. So we will add these to our display and see if we can make some room here. Well, I think we're going to get rid of the copper ore, and we'll get rid of one stone, and then we can add these items to our resources area. The wood is what we need to build. I was under the assumption that I needed stone, but that's only for the well. All of the other buildings will require wood. So that's what we're going to go with. So we've traveled to the forest, and we're going to do some river fishing. There's two fish that we can acquire, the shad or a bream. Now if we get the bream, we'll also get the treasure chest on top of it, so that could be good for us. So it looks like we're going to need the Junimo symbol and hearts, and we can collect as many of these as we're able to based on the die roll. So we're going to roll our 3 Stardew dice and see what matches we can obtain. All right, pretty good. I've got 2 hearts and a Junimo. So we're going to use the Junimo to get the shad, and we'll use the 2 hearts to get the bream. In addition, we're also going to be able to get an item for the treasure chest. This was a good haul for us. So we'll draw the top card from the items deck, and it ends up that we've got wild bait. Discard during your turn to take any or all tiles from the fish track. Wow, that is pretty good. So that is pretty good item, and we will do that. So we're going to keep the shad and the bream in addition to that wild bait. All right. So we're going to have to make room if we want to keep those fish. And these are the fish that we currently have in our possession. They don't have a great value, but it's nice to have a mix of things. So I think we'll keep the shad. I'll get rid of this fiddlehead fern. It has a little higher value, but this would give us a better chance at possibly fulfilling those requirements when we make a friend. Now as for the bream, I think we will keep that, and I'll get rid of the stone. We'll do that. All right. And then we're going to add this wild bait. That is an item, and we will add that in item 1. We can have 2 items. That's a good card. Discard during your turn to take any or all tiles from the fish track. Pretty good. So we'll wait until there is hopefully a legendary fish comes out. So we have to update our fish track. Everything is going to move at the end. We'll draw 3 fish tokens. Well, unfortunately, no legendary fish came out on the display. We have a pike, largemouth bass, and a sardine. So we're going to return to our farm at the end of the day, and I probably should have hung on to that stone. I could have built the stairs to go down a level into the mine. That might have been nice, but I didn't. And I guess that's going to bring our turn to a close. We won't use any of the end of turn effects, so we'll go to another summer turn. And our next summer turn consists of an upgrade for our crops, and unfortunately we don't have any. Next would be a watering of all crops. We don't have any. We'd move the pet would wander. Now we have to update our fish track. And this could be good for us because maybe we can get a legendary fish out there. So these 2 are going to drop off. We'll advance these down the track, and we'll draw 2 new fish. And we were very fortunate. We ended up getting a legendary fish in the lake, and that is the angler. Crayfish also came out. And the last step is we can trade and sell resources, and I think we will do that. I think we're going to sell our strawberries, our fiddlehead fern, and the shad. We'll sell those. That'll be a total of 9 gold. That's fantastic. So we'll take a 10 gold and give 1 back. So we've got 12 gold. That is great. So right now we have fulfilled Grandpa's wishes to save enough gold, but that can't be counted until the end of the game. So these resources now are gone. And we freed up some space in our inventory. Now we do have this wild bait, and it says discard during your turn to take any or all tiles from the fish track. Now the problem with that is, if you examine Grandpa's wishes, it says catch a legendary fish. So I don't know if this would be considered catching. I guess it is. So I think if that's the case, we're going to use this wild bait, and we're going to do that. Discard during our turn to take any or all tiles from the fish track. So we'll discard our wild bait, and that's going to get us any fish on the display. I'm going to definitely take the angler, and that's going to fulfill. That is a legendary fish. We'll take that, and we'll take the largemouth bass and the pike. We'll take all 3 of those. We've got space on our display. So let's take those. That is great. It's going to earn us some pretty good money. These are going to slide down, and we'll replace those fish tokens, and then this card is discarded. The new fish on the track are a crayfish, smallmouth bass, and an eel. And so that is going to complete one of Grandpa's wishes, and that was to catch a legendary fish. And it says, P.S. you don't have to keep them, you just have to have caught them. So we've completed that. And we'll flip that over, and that is one of the 4 that we need to complete. That's great. So now we'll go to the planning portion of the turn. And I think what we will do is we're going to expand the farm, and we can build a building. Right now the cost is 2 wood and 10 gold to build either the barn or the coop. So I don't have enough wood yet. So I think what we'll do, I can't gain any wood by traveling towards the buy buildings area, so we'll have to go somewhere else. So I think we're going to start in the forest, and we'll do some river fishing to start out with. And examining the river fish that are available, it's only the crayfish, and that is one of those crab pots. We have to have bug meat in order to get anything from there, so we wouldn't really qualify for anything else. I'll try to see if I can come up with something better. And I think we'll start, instead of at the forest, we'll start in Pelican Town, and I'll attempt to visit Gus and make a friend. And in town we've met up with Alex. Alex loves farm products. That's one of his favorite things. But he hates all of this other stuff. So we have to try to find an item we can give him. Looks like fish would be good. So I think maybe what we'll do is we will give him a bream. And that will allow him to become our friend. Now he has a summer birthday, and we're in summer, so we're going to gain an extra heart for that. So by giving him the bream, we're going to gain 2 hearts. 1 for making him a friend, and 1 for his birthday. And his gift ability is gain a random fish tile. You'll notice that there's a symbol next to Alex's name. That's that conch shell. That just shows that he is a marryable friend. So that's great. We're going to add Alex to our list of friends, and we're going to gain 2 hearts. That's great. Bream is gone. And for our next action, I think we are going to travel. I'm going to travel to visit Marnie. Now, we're not going to be able to buy any animals because we don't have any farm buildings yet. But what we can do is, while we're traveling, we're going to use our axe. When you move, you may take 1 wood as well as a forageable adjacent to the path. So we will do so. I'm going to gain this wood, and I think I'll gain this forageable, and that's stone. So we can add those to our display. And so now we have our new friend Alex, and we've acquired wood and stone. And I think we're going to try to keep both of those. This is a tough decision. See, we don't know what the pantry is going to expect from us from the community center. It might be a spring forageable possibly, so I hate to get rid of that. I guess the best thing we could do would be to keep the wood, and then we'll get rid of the largemouth bass, and we'll keep the stone. I think we'll do it that way. So this is the end of the turn. We're going to return home at night, and I think we will take one of the end of turn actions. And I think what I'm going to do is spend the stone, and we're going to end up building stairs, and that's going to get us down one level in the mine. So we will remove the level 1 mine card and reveal the level 2 mine card. That allows us to have ore and geodes, and the monster down there is green slime. Nothing will happen if we end up having a monster encounter. Every time that we go down a level, we're supposed to draw another map card. So we're going to replace this card with another map card. And this time, that is what it looks like. All right. And that's going to bring our turn to a close, and we'll go on to another summer turn. All right, we're ready for our next summer turn. And we've got the old pesky crows again. Well, they have no crops to go after. Next is trigger gift ability. So we can trigger one of the gift abilities of our villagers, our friends. And I'm going to trigger Caroline's gift ability. Plant any one crop from any season. So I think we're going to plant a crop from the spring season. And I'm going to plant some strawberries. And the reason I'm doing that is because we don't know what's happening with the pantry. They might be asking for spring products, and this way we have an option to try to acquire those in the event that that is the case. So I'm going to plant some strawberries, and those have a watering level of 4, so we'll place them on the 4. Next in the sequence, we have to draw and resolve an event, and our event this time is Cuddles. You give your pet some water, gain 1 heart. All right, so we'll gain a heart. That's our 3rd heart. Now for our planning stage, and I think we are going to start in the mountains. And I'm going to begin by buying a building. We have enough resources to do so. So we will visit Robin, and we're going to buy a building. And I think I'm going to construct the coop. It's going to cost us 10 gold and 2 wood, which we take from our reserves. And that allows us to build the coop. And now we are ready to purchase chickens, ducks, and rabbits. In addition, that is going to complete one of Grandpa's expectations for us. He wanted us to expand the farm, own buildings equal to the number of players. So we own now the coop, and that will complete the second of his wishes. That's great. For our second action, we're going to travel, and we're going to go to the community center in Pelican Town. As we travel past, we're going to pick up a forageable, and this time we've got stone, so we'll add that to our display. And now we're going to visit the community center, so I'm going to spend 1 heart, and that'll allow us to view the pantry, what is required of us at the pantry. So we'll spend a heart and see what's at the pantry. And they're looking for fall crops, any fall crop. All right. Well, we have a good chance on being able to complete those. Fall hasn't started yet. So at the end of the day, we're going to return back to our farm and view our brand new coop that we've built. And I think for our end of turn effect, we're going to remove a Joja tile. So we're going to spend 1 heart, and we're going to get rid of this JojaMart warehouse planning. We'll get rid of that, and that's going to complete our turn. Pretty successful turn. And now we're going to move to the last days of summer. that says place new trees and forageable tiles. And then we're going to draw, in the case of the solo game, 3 profession upgrades, and we get to keep 1. And then we will draw the next season card. So as summer turns to fall in Stardew Valley, we get to look at our 3 upgrades that we're going to choose. And right now, it looks like we're going to need gold and to upgrade a starting tool. So we'll base our profession upgrades based on those criteria. And knowing what we know, I think I'm going to take 2 foraging upgrades and 1 farming upgrade. And we'll see which one of these 3 we want to keep. We'll start out with the foraging, and we've got a magnet ring. It's also a gift ability. May move any forageables, not wood, to other forageable spots. Maximum 1 per space. Okay. The next one would be shells and coral. Whenever you take an action at the ocean fishing space, gain 2 gold. That could be quite helpful for us. The other one is the farming, and that is quality fertilizer. Discard any fish to flip all planted crops to quality side up. Wow. Well, I think we're going to go with this shells and coral. That's a good way for us to get gold, so I'm going to keep that. We'll place that as our second profession upgrade. These other cards will be discarded. Right now we're at the halfway point of the game. We're just starting fall, so we'll be turning over our first fall card. In this case we have, the crows are going at it again, and we're going to lose our strawberries. It's going to be both a crop in the green area and in the red. Well, we only have the strawberries, so those are going to be removed. Pesky crows. Now we'll move to our planning phase, and I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to start at the Pelican Town, and we're going to start by visiting Pierre, and we're going to buy some seeds. Got 2 gold right now, and that would be enough to get us started at least. And we need to get some fall forageables and fall crops. So I'm going to try to pick stuff that I can complete quickly, I think. So we're going to take, for 2 gold, we're going to buy a bok choy and an eggplant. And that'll cost us 2 gold, and we'll plant those in our fields in watering spaces 2 and 3. All right, maybe we can get those completed quickly, and then we'd be able to solve those issues that we have at the community center. Next, I'm going to take a trip to the beach. So we'll be moving down that path. I'm going to take a forageable as I go by, and we'll select this one. And we've got a wild plum. That is a autumn forageable. That is great because that is going to complete one of the items that we need, in this case, for the crafts room. So we'll take that, put that on our display, and now we're going to head to the beach, and we're going to do some ocean fishing. And now, with this card, it says whenever you take the action at the ocean fishing space, gain 2 gold. And we will do that right now. So that'll earn us 2 gold. So we're going to do a little fishing in the ocean. There's a couple of ocean species that we can go after. It's the eel, requires 3 hearts, and the sardine, which requires 1 heart. So we'll get out our dice tower and some Stardew dice. We'll see what we come up with. We get to roll 3 of those and see what happens. Okay, here is our fishing attempt. Okay, we've got 2 hearts and a star drop. So I think what we'll do is we'll target one of the hearts and take the sardine, I guess. We don't have enough for the eel, but we'll take the sardine. We'll add that to our display. These are going to slide down, and we'll draw a new fish from the bag. New fish is a lake fish, and that is a lingcod. And so at the end of the day, we're going to return back to our farmhouse, and we can perform an end of turn effect if we choose. I still need to complete another upgrade of our starting item, moving that copper watering can to an iron watering can. So we're going to need some iron ore. That's something we'll have to keep in mind. I'm not going to take any of those actions at this point, so we'll bring the turn to a close. And we'll continue with another fall turn. And the pesky crows are there again. Okay, so we have to get rid of a red crop, and that is going to have to be the eggplant. It will be consumed by the crows. Next, we get to enact one of our gift abilities. And I think we're going to use Caroline's ability to plant one crop from any season, and we'll make that a fall crop. And I'm going to replant those previously destroyed crops, and we're going to put an eggplant in. We'll put that on watering level 3. All right. Next is another event. And the next event is Spirits Are Happy. Keep. Discard it any time to re-roll any dice once. That's great. So we'll keep that card. That doesn't go in any slot. It's not an item. That's just an event card that we can keep. And then finally, we can trade and sell resources, and I think we might do some of that. I'm going to sell that fish that we've got, an angler, that'll be worth 5. And let's see what else we can sell here. I think I'll sell the pike for 3. So that's a total of 8, and I did mess up earlier in the game. I shorted myself 2 gold. So I'm going to make up for that, and we'll add 2 to this total. That'll be a total of 10. We've got 10 gold now. So these will be discarded, and we'll add 10 gold to our total. Okay, for our planning stage, I think what we're going to do is I'm going to start by watering the crops. Now, with our new copper watering can, allows us to move them 2 spaces. So we'll be doing that. And then I think after that, I'm going to travel to Pelican Town, and we'll visit the community center, and maybe we can solve some of those community center room problems with bundles. We'll complete the bundles. So we'll start by watering the crops. Everything's going to move 2. So the bok choy now is going to be added to our display. The eggplant will move down 2. I think next we're going to take the road back to Pelican Town. I'm going to reveal this forageable, and that is an artifact. All right, so we're going to draw an artifact out of the bag. And we've drawn the artifact hand axe. Has a value of 2 and a letter B. So I think we will keep that. And I'll put that on our display now. Our resources area is filled up. So we've successfully traveled to Pelican Town, and we're going to visit the community center. So we'll begin by spending a heart to reveal what we need in the fish tank. And in this case, we need a lake fish, any lake fish or legendary fish. All right. Now we're also able to complete any of the bundles that we need. So I think what I'm going to do is we're going to use the wild plum that it's a forageable. We'll place that on the card, any fall forageable, and that's going to complete our crafts room. So we can remove that stack from the board, and now we have this nice crafts room completed. I can also complete the pantry. Any fall crop, we're going to use our bok choy that we have. So we're going to use that to complete the pantry. And now we have a nice brand new pantry. Unfortunately, I don't have any lake fish, so we can't complete the fish tank yet. But we've made some good progress. And that's going to complete our turn, so we're going to return back to our farm, and we'll see if there's any end of turn effects that we might want to take care of. And I think we will. I'm going to spend a stone, and we're going to build some stairs in the mine, and we'll be able to go down another level in the mine. So we'll move our mine from level 2 down to level 3. And we've got some bugs and grubs down there. The ore is still copper, and there's geodes available. We'll replace our map. And the new map tile is that. All right. And we're ready for our next turn, and here's the next fall card. And the pesky crows are added again, and this time we're going to lose our eggplant. I wish we had a scarecrow or something. So we're going to lose our eggplant, unfortunately. It'll be returned to the supply. And next we have to draw another event. And our event is Found a Lost Book, an old farmer's journal. Starting player gains a random farming upgrade. All right. Well, the random farming upgrade is cheese press. Double the gold received when you sell cow or goat milk. Well, we don't have a barn, so that probably won't help us too much because the barn would be linked to cows and goat milk. So I think we'll just pass on that. And the event card will be discarded. Our last actions would be to trade and sell resources. I'm going to keep what we have for the time being. We'll go to our planning phase. Well, the next thing I think we need to work on is to try to upgrade our starting tool. Now, we're going to need iron ore to do that. So I think we are going to, we'll start in the mountains, and I think I am going to explore the mine now. The current level card has ore that's copper ore, but maybe we can do something there. There's other things that can occur there, and we'll start with that, and I think then we will travel to Pelican Town and try to make another friend. So we're going to explore the mine, and we'll be rolling 2 dice, and we'll match those up on our map card. Okay, we've got a star drop symbol and a heart, so we can use those in any way we want. And I think we're going to use that to find an item. So we're going to use it in this fashion, and that allows us to draw an item card. And our item is revealed to be a crab pot. Discard during your turn to gain all crab pot fish from the fish track. Okay, that's an item. And we have room in our items area, so we will place that in item 1. For our next action, we're going to travel back to Pelican Town. And as I'm going by, I'm going to take a forageable. And I think we will take this one. That turns out to be stone. Okay, we'll take that. Put that on our display. We arrive in Pelican Town, and I'm going to visit Gus. And I think we're going to make a friend. And we've drawn Shane. Okay, let's see what Shane likes. All right, Shane. He loves crops. Unfortunately, I don't have any crops. Stuff he hates is ore, geodes, artifacts, and minerals. So I think what we'll do is we'll give Shane a sardine. That'll become our friend. He has a very interesting gift ability. If you have the coop, gain 1 chicken, otherwise gain an egg. So that's a great way for us to develop our coop. So we will take Shane as our friend. He has a spring birthday, so we won't qualify for that bonus. His flavor text says, "Why is there no more pumpkin ale?" Okay, so we'll add him to our friends area. That's great. So we're going to return home, back to our farm at the end of the day. And I'm going to take an end of turn effect, and we're going to build some more stairs. So I'm going to use the stone, and we'll be able to drop another level down in the mine. So we're going to drop us from level 3 down to level 4, and I'm hoping that the ore will become iron ore, and then we can use that to upgrade our starting item. We go down to level 4, and we do have now copper and iron ore. We also have different types of geodes. Monsters are now bats and Dougie. Okay, we have to replace our map tile, and we'll see what the new one is. All right, that is our new map tile. So we're ready for our next fall turn. And this time we've got turn a crop to quality, water the crops, and another event. Okay, we'll take the event. And the event is another found a lost book. How deep do the mines go? Starting player gains a random mining upgrade. Okay, well, let's see what that random mining upgrade would be. This one's revealed to be staircase recipe. Staircases cost you 1 fewer stone to build, minimum 1 stone. Well, I don't think we're going to do that, so we'll just simply discard these. Then we can go on to the next, and that's to trade and sell resources. And I don't think I'm going to be doing any selling of resources, so we'll go to our planning step. And I think we're going to start in the mine. And we're going to explore the mine, and then I think we will probably travel, depending upon what happens, we'll either travel back to the community center. I think that probably will be what we'll end up doing, and then we can reveal the bulletin board aspects. The other option is to explore the mine and stay there and then do lake fishing and attempt to get that lake fish that we need for the fish tank. That might be another option as well. We'll start with the mine exploration. All right, here is the mine exploration roll. And we've got 2 hearts. Okay, that only places us with one option, and that would be to gain a stone. But we do have this card. The spirits are happy. Discard at any time to re-roll any dice once. So I think we'll try that. I'm trying to get the ore. Unfortunately, we only have really one chance to get that. Well, I don't know. Maybe we'd be better off just accepting the stone. I think I will end up doing that. We'll save that card for something else. So I'll take a stone. It'll allow us to move down a level at the end of the round. And then I think we are going to take our second action and do some lake fishing. And there are quite a few lake fish available. Now we do have a special card, the crab pot. And that says that we can discard during our turn to gain all crab pot fish from the fish track. So we'll do that. I'm going to gain the crayfish and the crayfish. Take both of those, and then we'll do our fishing action and see what we can come up with. So here's the fishing action. We've got 2 hearts and a star drop. And I guess what we can do is use those for the smallmouth bass. We'll spend 1 heart for that. I don't have any junimos for the lingcod, so we'll take that, put that on our display. That is great. And then we will refresh our fish display. We'll be drawing 3 fish from the bag. And we get a piece of driftwood, rainbow trout, and a shrimp. So we'll return back to our farmhouse at the end of the day, and I think I'm going to take one of the end of turn effects, and we're going to spend a stone and build stairs going down to level 5. So we'll move from level 4 to level 5. Okay, level 5 still has the copper and iron ore, some different geodes, and then our monsters are cave flies and rock crabs. If we end up rolling that result, it'll end our turn. So we'll replace our map tile, and this is the new map tile right now. Okay. All right, and we're at the last days of fall right now. So we're getting close to the end of the game. And this says to place new trees and forgeable tiles, and then draw our profession upgrades, and then start the next season. All right, so winter has come to Stardew Valley. Next, we're going to draw 3 professions and keep 1. Well, I think we're going to draw all 3 profession upgrades in mining. I need to get that iron ore, and I'm hoping that maybe some of these will help. So we'll get 3 profession upgrades and keep 1 of them. The first one is a warrior ring. If you roll a monster in the mine, ignore and re-roll. Must take the second roll. That could be useful. The next one is blacksmith. Ore and stone generate +2 gold when you sell them. All right. Next one. Well, this has a double side to it. They also have prospector. Artifacts generate +2 gold when you sell them. Okay, that's like I'm not sure about that. Why would it be double-sided? Yeah, that would allow us to choose either solution, either the prospector or the blacksmith. So we'll see what the last one is. And this is transmute. Spend 1 action, change any ore to any other ore. Well, that could be useful. So it's a matter of the warrior ring would be really helpful to avoid monsters, but I think I'm going to take the transmute. We'll take that. And I think we're going to discard our axe, and we're going to keep that transmute profession there. And next we have to start the next season. In this case it's winter. So we've got a few turns left. And in winter we have to place 2 Joja markers. Wow! So we have to reveal 2 Joja markers. First one is JojaMart drilling operation. Players may only take 1 action at the mine during their turn. All right, we'll place that up in the mine. The next one is toxic algae bloom. No fishing allowed at the ocean. All right, we'll place that down there. Okay. Well, I think we're going to start, our planning will be to start at the community center. I'm going to spend 1 heart to reveal what we need at the bulletin board. And then, depending upon what happens, we'll either maybe, we could buy some animals. That doesn't really directly help us though. We need to get that ore. So now with the JojaMart drilling operation, that's going to be a little bit of a problem for us. So we'll start out with the community center. We'll start out by spending the heart, and we'll reveal what is on the bulletin board. And in this case, it is dye. A heart and any forageable will allow us to get the bulletin board. All right, now we can start placing some of the bundles that we can use to finish these. And I'm going to use the smallmouth bass, which is a lake fish, any lake or legendary fish. That is going to complete the fish tank. We'll get rid of those cards, and now we have a nice brand new fish tank in the community center. Now I do have a forageable that I can place on that card, but it also needs a heart. So I think I will place the forageable on that card. It's not going to complete it yet. We need to get a heart yet to do that, but we're making progress. All right. Then I guess we are going to travel to the mine, and we'll get to pick up a forageable on the way. I'll take this one, and that is a snow yam. That is a winter forageable, and it is a quality snow yam. We'll place that on our display. So we arrive at the mountains, and we're only allowed to take 1 action at the mine during the turn. So I think we will take the mining action there, and we'll see what we can come up with. And we'll make our mining roll. Okay, we've got 2 Junimos. So that is going to be 2 geodes. So we can gain any available geodes. We have 2 of them. So I think what we'll end up doing is I will take a standard geode. So we'll take a standard geode and a frozen geode. And I've got space on my chart for that. So we'll place those geodes on our storage area on our card. We can open those. If we travel to this location, we use this chart, and we're able to convert that. When we open the geode, we can have, depending upon what type it is, that will tell us what product we get out of it. So that's going to bring our turn to a close. So we return home to the farm, and I don't think we're going to do any actions at this point. So we'll move on to our next winter card. And the next winter card is revealed to be an event, a Joja tile, and sell resources. We'll start out with the event. And we've got the blacksmith. Upgrade any starting tool once for free. That is absolutely amazing. We're going to do that. And that is going to be the second upgrade. We're going to move from copper up to iron. And that's level 2. And we've completed Grandpa's wish to upgrade our starting tools. That was absolutely fantastic. So that will allow us to complete upgrade starting tools. We've done it twice. So all that's left now is to save the $10 at the end of the game, which I already have in reserve, and then to complete the rest of the bundles to complete at the community center. That's great. Next, we have to draw another Joja tile, and this one is cost increase. The cost to buy animals is increased by 3 gold. Okay, we'll place that at the buy animals area. All right, finally we can sell resources. And I think we're going to sell a snow yam, crayfish, and a crayfish. And that is going to get us a total of 8 gold. That's great. All right, now we are going to do our planning. I need to get another heart to complete the bulletin board, and we still have to reveal the vault and the boiler room cards in the community center, so I need hearts. And I think the plan for today is we're going to start in the forge, and we're going to open geodes. I think we'll probably travel to the community center and then either try to make a friend, or if we're able to get a heart, we'll go to the community center and then try to solve another couple of those issues with the community center. So we'll start by opening geodes. All right, now I've got 2 geodes. We have a frozen geode and a standard geode. We're going to roll 1 Stardew die and then use the chart intersecting that with the type of geode to tell us what we've got. So here is the roll. We'll start with the frozen geode. We'll be using this row. The result is a heart, and that is a piece of iron ore. So we will gain the iron ore for that. And we'll do another one for the standard geo. This time we'll be using this row. The result is a heart, and that is just stone. So we'll gain a stone for that. Not what I wanted. So the geodes are put back to the supply, and we'll add the 2 resources to our chart. Now for our next turn. Well, unfortunately, I don't have any hearts, and that's what I need. We definitely need hearts. Now, we could get some from the museum, but this cluttered display from Joja is there, and we have to spend both actions in order to use that museum. We could donate this artifact that we have that would automatically gain us a heart for every donation that we make, but I can't do it with that cluttered display cases. So I think we will travel to Pelican Town. We're going to visit Gus and make a friend. And I think we will take this forageable. And we've got a winter root. Okay. We'll add that to our display. And then we'll make a friend. And our friend is Abigail. She likes farm products. She hates artifacts and crops. Okay. So let's see if we can get her as our friend. She has a fall birthday, so we won't be eligible for that. I guess we will give her, a winter root. That is a forageable, and that will be just enough for her to become our friend, and we're going to gain a heart for that. So we will travel back home, and I'm going to take advantage of one of our end of turn effects, and we're going to remove a Joja token. I'm going to spend 5 gold, and we're going to remove, I believe, the cluttered displays. We'll spend the 5 gold to get rid of that, and then we can visit the museum with no problems. So we're ready for our next winter turn. And this time we have an event, another Joja token, and sell resources. Next event is needy animals. Flip all owned animals to their opposite side. Well, that isn't going to help us. We don't have any animals. Next is a Joja token, and this one is permit required. No fishing allowed at the lakes. Okay, we'll place that at the lake fishing area. And finally, we can sell resources. And I think we'll keep what we have for the time being. And I think we will go to our planning stage. Now I'm going to start at the forge, and we're going to donate to the museum. I'm going to donate this hand axe, which will end up being in slot B. And that is going to earn us a heart. So we'll gain our second heart. Then for our next action, we're going to travel. I've got no forageables to claim, and we'll go to the community center. So we'll spend a heart, and we're going to reveal what is happening with the vault. And we need to have 8 gold there. Okay, 8 gold. Now I have an additional heart that I'm going to use to complete the bulletin board. We've got a forageable and a heart, and that completes the bulletin board. So it's getting close to the end, and we still have to reveal the boiler room and then get the 8 gold for the vault, and then still take care of saving enough gold for Grandpa. So let's see what happens. So we're going to return back home, and I don't think we're going to take any actions at this point. I have a stone. We would be able to go down in the mine a little bit, but none of those things are going to help us right now. So I think we'll just end the turn and we'll go to our next winter card. All right, our next winter card is a gift and trade and sell resources. Okay, let's see which one of the gift items we want to utilize. And I think we're going to use Shane's ability. If you have the coop, gain 1 chicken. So we'll do that. So we're going to place a chicken in our coop. Next we can sell some resources, and the only thing I can sell is this iron ore, and we'll sell that for 2. Well, we need money and we need hearts. So I don't have any resources I can sell. And worse yet, I don't have any resources that I can use to make a friend in order to get a heart. So we're in pretty tough straits here. I'm going to have to come up with something. Well, I can't come up with much. All I can come up with is to start at Pelican Town and then to visit Pierre. And it says buy seeds and sell things. My plan isn't to buy anything, but it is to sell things. Now, the rules state that you can sell any resources from your inventory for gold. So I don't know if chickens are considered to be part of your inventory, but that's what I would do, is sell the chickens. That'll get me 6 gold. So we'll just, for the sake of argument, say that that's true. I get 6 gold there. That's my first action. So my second action would be to take the community center action, but I don't have any hearts. So I guess all I can do is pay the 8 gold and attempt to get rid of that situation that we have at the vault. So let's do that. And this says 8 gold times the number of players. So I'll surrender 8 gold. We'll get rid of those cards and reveal the vault, which is complete. And that's all I can do. So we would have to go back to our farmhouse. And all I can really do there is to remove a Joja token. So I'm going to spend $5 and I'm going to remove the toxic algae bloom from the beach area. We'll get rid of that. And that's going to end the turn. And now we're down to the last days of winter. So we'll flip our last card. And that says winter has ended. Your year comes to an end. Okay. So as for Grandpa's wishes, I have the $10. That says have 10 gold per player by the end of the game. So we've accomplished that. And we've got all 4 of Grandpa's wishes done, but unfortunately, we've got one room, the boiler room, which has not been dealt with at the community center. And so we've brightened up all of 5 of the 6 community center rooms, but not that boiler room. Let's just see what that would have been. And they would have wanted blacksmith, any ore. Well, I don't have any ore in the inventory, so that wouldn't have made much of a difference. We'd have needed at least an extra turn to have a chance to win the game. So it ends up that we have lost our first game, but I'll tell you, It's a great game, and I'm going to come back with some thoughts on this and my recommendations. Well, I have to say I can't remember in recent memory where I've had such a lot of fun with a board game. This is very entertaining. I enjoyed it very much. I think the designers did an excellent job. I haven't played Stardew Valley on the computer, but I have watched some videos on it, and this game seems to translate that computer game extremely well. My hope is that they're going to produce some sort of a deluxe edition to this, or at least an expansion. And the thing that I would probably enjoy most in an expansion would be to have a few more of Grandpa's letters to choose from. The game comes with 8, and we use 4 in every game. So it would be nice to double those, I would think, and that would give, the game already has a lot of variety. When you look at all of the cards and the forageable tokens and JojaMart, I think all of those are really good. And the other thing that I think would be important is to probably try, if they were to develop an official campaign game for this, where you could play multiple years perhaps, that would be, I think, a lot of fun. Other than that, I can't give this game any higher. It's definitely a 10 for me. And to be honest, that's kind of unusual for me. I usually don't gravitate to these style of games, but this particular one has actually a very calming feel to it, and it's really a lot of fun to play. How you experience the change in seasons, the different item cards, and the villagers, they're all different. The only things that we didn't get into in this playthrough were mine events and epic items. We didn't see any of those. But other than that, I think we've pretty much went through each of the major actions in the game. There were some things that we didn't get to, collecting from animals, and we did a little bit of opening geodes, not a great deal. But for the most part, this playthrough should give you a pretty good idea of how the game plays, and I just think it's wonderful. It's a very elegant game, the way that the designers have built this. A lot of replayability, and it's really very, very fun, and I'm actually looking forward to my next playthrough. So I hope you enjoyed this look at Stardew Valley, the board game. This is Keith from the Solo Gamers Club, inviting you to tune in for my next video coming up soon. And in the meantime, I'd like to wish everyone a pleasant evening and a good night.